Okay, shall we start?
Yes.
Okay, so you had a question?
Yeah. My question is if there is a period of time between the accumulation of AMA in our digestive system and the distribution of this AMA for the rest of our body. When we feel just digestive symptoms and we can maybe cure that easily.
So the answer to that is it will depend on the quantity of AMA that is formed. If the quantity of AMA, the toxicity is very less, you will feel the digestive symptoms and you can just correct them very easily. But the time between formation and spreading is the time between digestion and formation of rasa, which is
Constantly.
24 hours.
Yeah.
So the time from the nutrient fluid, the first tissue is formed, is 24 hours. Right? So the time of spreading will be 24 hours. Within 24 hours it will spread. And then if the process is continuously happening of formation, the spread and circulation will keep on happening continuously. Does that answer the question?
Yeah.
The next part to that is if obviously the time required for correcting the problem will depend on the quantity and the intensity. Like if we are aware of the problems happening, like for example, you wake up every day and you watch your tongue, yeah, and your tongue is always clean, no coating, and one morning you wake up and you see there is a coating on the tongue. You miss the breakfast, you skip the breakfast, you'll be fine. So because you are aware and you are observing your body and you are noticing immediate changes happening in the body, if you see any signs and symptoms of toxin formation and you take the corrective steps, it will correct automatically, immediately. But if you are not aware and you keep on accumulating the AMA, it keeps on circulating in the body, it will go deeper and deeper in your body. It will penetrate deeper and deeper in your body, and then it will become a bigger problem to solve. It will take longer time, it will take more effort and more serious solutions.
But wouldn't this depend on the person, again, on the constitution? Because if you skip the breakfast, then it's a person that needs to fill up because works really hard or something.
No, what I meant to say is that if you just seen coating on the tongue which was not there ever, and you get up and whilst you're brushing you see there's a coating on the tongue, you miss the breakfast, you don't eat till the lunchtime, the toxin will get digested. Yeah, because obviously when you're going to eat the lunch, you will only eat when you're hungry, right? If you're not hungry, what is the rule? Eat when you're hungry, drink when you're thirsty. That's the rule what Ayurveda says. Today the world doesn't follow that. That's a different story. Today it says you should have 6 meals a day, 3 meals a day, 2 meals a day. Different concepts are, circulating. So there is no understanding of constitution. There is no understanding of individual digestive system capacity. There is no understanding of the quantity of food to be consumed. And there are general rules, uniform rules being applied to the entire society, which is what is causing problems with certain group of people who cannot adjust or cannot accommodate those kind of food habits, etc. So people who are already having different constitutions, we will come to the concept of constitution and then you will understand it better. But what I was trying to say is the deeper the problem, the more serious the problem, the more chronic the problem, the more time it will take to correct. Now coming back to what is the solution for this. So like I started in this morning saying that most of the detox therapies which are present today do not look at the origin of the problem, where it is coming from, and then decide on how to deal with it. They're just giving, simple solutions. Drink juices, drink teas, drink infusions. they're not looking at the problem, they're not looking at the intensity of the problem and then suggesting these methods. People are saying do a 7-day juice detox, do a 7-day infusion detox, and you will feel better. Will you feel better? Yes, obviously, everybody will feel better. The degree of feeling better will vary. Will that completely correct the problem? In some people, yes, in some people, no. Because again, more the toxins, more serious or more longer the duration. So a 7-day detox may not work for maybe 40% people, 50% people, or people who have chronic problem. Will it work for people who have just started experiencing the problems? Probably yes. But today we are going to talk about how actually to deal with this problem and how to understand whether you have dealt with it completely or not. There is no fixed solution to this. Like do this for 7 days and you will feel and the problem will be resolved. It will depend on person to person and it will depend on the signs and symptoms that we are observing. So the basic issue here is that this is some kind of an endotoxin. What is an endotoxin? Endotoxin is something which is formed inside our body because of some kind of physiological problems that we are facing. Physiological problems are your digestion has been impaired, its strength has been reduced, and that is why the digestive processes are not happening effectively, and that's the reason this kind of a toxin, this kind of a endotoxin has been formed in the body. And the solution lies within our body itself. We have to correct it by correcting the digestive capacity, by correcting the root cause of it, by dealing with the root cause. So if your weak digestion is the problem, then improve your digestion, it will correct the problem. That's the basic, solution for this. Now the question is, how do you do that? How do you correct your digestive capacity? So the first and foremost thing which has been suggested is fasting. Fasting is the first thing that has been suggested as a treatment, as a solution for the toxicity in body. Now what is fasting?
Not eating.
Doing without.
Sorry? Not
Doing
eating?
without.
Doing?
Doing without.
Doing without, okay. What else?
Is eating simple foods or easier to digest?
Okay, eating foods which are easier to digest.
It can be a liquid diet sometimes.
So it can be a liquid diet,
Yeah, partial fasting or total fasting.
partial fasting or total fasting. So whilst we are talking here, we have actually looked at various options of fasting. Today again, when we talk of fasting, people understand fasting as not eating food. Okay? Is that correct? Yes, the meaning of the word fasting means not to eat food. Will it work for everyone? No, it won't work for everyone. Why? Because within the group here, there are going to be people who are built differently. When I say built, meaning you are created differently when you were created in form of, your mother and father, sperm and ovum coming together and an embryo being formed. At that time, that creation has happened and you are different. Each individual is different. And that is why one thing which never works is one rule applicable for everyone. There will be people here who can go without food for 8 hours, 10 hours, without feeling agitated, without feeling irritated. And there will be people here who will have a very strong appetite. They need to eat every 4 hours. If they don't get food, they will feel angry, they will feel irritated, they will feel agitated, they will not be able to focus. There will be people who will have a different kind of system. Some days they will feel hungry, some days they will not feel hungry. So if we are talking of hunger itself, these will be 3 major different categories of people that will exist. And if we apply the same rule of completely going off the food, That may work well with the people who can go without food for 8 to 10 hours, but certainly not with the people, other two types of people who feel hungry every 4 hours. If you don't give food to them, their fire will get, their agni or their digestion will get stimulated quickly, and then they will start feeling agitated, they will start feeling irritated. So you have to have a balance, and you have to choose what works better for each individual depending on their basic constitutional makeup, which we will talk later. So, but fasting in general will be of 2 or 3 different types. One is total fasting, other is going on lighter foods, like she mentioned, going on foods which are easier to digest, and then going on foods which are liquid, which are further easier to digest. Partial fasting can also be introduced, where if you are eating, say, a certain helping of food, reduce the quantity of food, eat only half of that. That is also a type of fasting. So fasting in general will constitute something which primarily will mean give rest to your digestive system. How much rest will depend on each individual. For how long will depend on each individual. So giving rest to your digestive system will be the first solution, which is commonly called as fasting. Coming back to the example again, for example, if you are given 3 times the work that you are able to do and your workload is pending, the only way you can finish the pending work is if no further work is given to you. Simple as that. So the same way, if your digestion is getting impacted and your digestion is pending, something is remaining, then further not letting new food being introduced in the body will help your digestive fire to gain strength and digest what it was not digesting earlier. That's the simple logical explanation for it. So giving rest to your digestive system, giving it time to recuperate, gaining the strength back, is what is the basic first thing that you need to do. Second thing,
Use of herbs.
use of herbs. So second thing will be use of herbs. What kind of herbs? You can use various spices in your food. Spices are heating, they are stimulating, they will stimulate your digestive fire, they will increase your digestion capacity, help in digesting the food. So that those kind of spices like turmeric, cumin, pepper, chilies, ginger, garlic, all these spices can be introduced in the food the way you prefer, the quantities that you prefer, the taste you prefer, but use of spices in the food will be another solution or another treatment suggestion for improving your digestive function. The third thing will be using these spices in form of infusions. Like making a ginger lemon tea, making various infusions from various spices, like a cumin, coriander tea, and using them as a regular drink is one thing, okay, or using them along with the food that you are consuming can be another thing, so that it helps in further supporting the digestive functioning. So use of infusions with medicinal herbs and spices. Third thing will be using warm water for drinking. So instead of drinking room temperature water or cold water, shifting to warm water. Warm water is one of the best solutions for correcting the ama problem. And people who have, like, one thing which I'm sure you will start doing after this workshop is over is start observing your tongue every day. I'm sure you will start doing it, because by the end of it you will realize that your tongue is your mirror to your digestive system. The cleaner the tongue, the more effective your digestion is. The more effective your digestion is, the more healthier you are. So a simple way is every day morning observe your tongue. Watch your tongue. If there is coating on the tongue, that means you need to do something to correct it. See that the tongue is cleared. And when I say coating on the tongue, removing the coating with the tongue cleaner is not the solution. Okay, because the coating on the tongue is just a representation of what's happening inside your body. You might remove it by a tongue cleaner, but still the problem remains, which is bad digestion. So that can only be corrected by these things. So naturally clean tongue. And I would say that if there is a coating on the tongue, the easiest way to get rid of it even before fasting or avoiding breakfast is drinking warm water. So the reason we do the warm water thing in the morning every day here in the detox, one of the reasons is also the ama. So warm water with lemon and aloe vera is one of the reasons is digestion of ama if there is any toxin being created in the body. So you can introduce that in your daily routine also, doing a warm water in the morning with lemon, just lemon, and maybe you want to add a piece of ginger to it, you can do that. Aloe vera is something different. We will talk about it in details later. Yeah.
If you need, oh sorry,
You go ahead.
if you need to fast because you know you've got ama and it's probably been there a long time, but you don't want to lose weight, how can you go about it?
So if it's like you said, it's been long time, okay?
Yeah.
Otherwise the question is, if it's not long time, then the question is, do you need to fast?
I suppose.
Yeah, that's the first question you should ask, because the immediate thing people think of is, because I have toxin, I should fast.
Yeah.
But like I said, warm water, infusions, spices, these are easier ways of getting rid of toxins which are not so chronic. But when it is a chronic problem and you need to fast, like I said, you don't need to go on a total fasting.
Yeah.
Okay, you can reduce the quantity, you can go on to liquid diets which will still nourish the body, give you the necessary nourishment, give you the necessary energy required for your day-to-day activity, okay, where you don't lose your weight, and add spices into it, add herbal infusions into it, which will further support the liquid diet therapy that you're doing to get rid of the ama.
Basically, it's about increasing the Agni.
Yes.
That's why you are fasting.
Yeah.
If you miss a meal, you miss breakfast, Agni will increase by lunchtime. So if you're worried about weight, there are other ways to think about how to increase the Agni.
Mm.
And this is the spices and how
Yeah,
Dr.
yeah.
Manish was talking about. Now, if you tell me you have ulcers as well, I don't know. Don't know.
Sorry? Sorry?
If they say that I can't eat spices,
Yeah.
that's the next thing we hear.
No, but spices don't necessarily mean you have to add chilies, etc. You can go with cumin, coriander, turmeric, those kind of spices which are not really making the food hot and pungent, and you can still have the benefits of it. Things like basil, things like lemon, those kind of things can work. A simple thing like taking a piece of ginger, crushing it, making a juice out of it, and adding a little bit of honey in it and consuming it, say half an hour before you actually eat the food, so that that will stimulate your agni, that will stimulate the fire, and it will help in digestion. So such kind of simple things can be introduced which will help you correct the problem. I'll repeat again. Say if you take half a teaspoon or 1 teaspoon of ginger juice, freshly crushed and take squeezed. Add a little bit of honey in it and take it say 15-20 minutes before your meal.
Just like
Yeah, just like.
Yeah, my question was similar to Christine. Like if there's someone who's underweight and they need to gain weight, but maybe they're not feeling hungry due to ama, should they still eat even though they don't have any hunger? Their hunger cues are mixed up.
So if you're not hungry and you are underweight, you want to put on weight. That's the question, right?
Yeah.
So the first thing is, if you're underweight, you're not feeling hungry, and you have ama. Okay. First and foremost, we need to understand whether there is really ama in the body. Okay, whether there are signs and symptoms of ama in the body. May not necessarily be a condition. If there is ama in the body, then the basic rule of the science is, if there is ama in the body, whatever may be the solution that you are expecting, like your weight loss, weight gain, either of those, okay? But if there is ama, the first thing is deal with the ama first. Deal with the toxicity first, because if you don't correct this toxicity, you will not get the desired result that you are expecting, whether it is weight gain or weight loss. Same is the condition in any kind of a health problem. Say for example, somebody has a joint problem, somebody has back pain, somebody has some skin problem, any condition that we talk about. But if there is presence of ama in the body, the first thing is, do not worry about that problem at that moment. First, deal with the toxicity. Because when there is toxicity in the body, no medicine, no herb, no change in your lifestyle is going to make any change to your health problem before you correct the ama condition. Chances are your condition may worsen because ama changes the physiology completely. The pathological condition also changes completely when there is presence of ama. So the rule says, if there is a health problem and there is ama, first deal with the ama. First take care of the toxicity, get rid of the toxicity, then dealing with the health problem is much easier. Or you have to do it simultaneously, where you are also digesting the toxin and also correcting the problem. So coming back to your problem, if the toxicity is taken care of, obviously then improving the appetite, then improving the agni, which has happened because of the toxicity removal, will then change the appetite, will change the hunger, and then help the person to eat better and put on weight. Then the solution become much more easier than with the presence of ama.
Yeah.
So first thing is deal with the ama and then look at the problem. So this is a common rule that has to be applied. Never ever try and correct the problem before correcting the toxicity. Is that clear? Same applies, going into a little bit of details, same applies for panchakarma. What is panchakarma? Just getting into details, you don't have to, you're not here for 5 minutes. What is panchakarma?
I think it's the main process of detoxicity of our body in Ayurveda,
Okay,
to
detox.
eliminating the excess of doshas and ama.
Okay. Okay.
But it's not about ama, it's more about the dosha, it says, no? Because you have to remove ama before you do panchakarma.
Yes.
Oh, that I was thinking the same.
Yeah. You too? Okay.
Yeah.
So panchakarma, the word pancha means 5, karma processes, 5 procedures to remove excess aggravated doshas out of the body, never to be done for ama. Okay, so remember this, panchakarma, even if you see that a person has extremely aggravated kapha or extremely aggravated pitta or vata, and you think of doing any kind of cleansing processes, like the Panchakarma, if there is ama in the body, you will first digest the ama. You will first, and I'm using the word digest the ama because you cannot remove the ama.
Okay, you can move the digestive.
You can only digest the ama because it is formed in the body because of weak digestion. So the only way you can deal with it is improve the agni, improve the fire, and get it digested. So the whole concept of toxins being thrown out of the body, the toxins being removed with your feces, the toxins, there are patches you apply to your feet and they come out black. All that is not possible. The only way, if we are talking of toxicity, the way we are understanding toxicity is by digesting them within your body. And that is why it is called as endotoxin. A toxin that is formed in the body, which needs to be dealt within the body. Clear? So even when there is panchakarma to be done, the first thing that needs to be done is the toxicity, the ama needs to be digested, and then only they can remove the doshas. The reason being, ama is also sticky in nature. Okay? Ama is sticky in nature. And what does it do? When it circulates in the body, it causes, because of its sticky nature, it causes various blockages in the body. Now, when I'm using this analogy, a lot of people must be thinking of a condition called cholesterol. Okay, which spreads throughout the body, causes blockages in the body. So, is cholesterol similar to ama? Think, we will talk about it. Okay, but what does ama do? Ama circulates throughout the body and causes blockages because of the sticky nature. Now, when it is sticking inside the body, okay, suppose this is the wall of your digestive system and the ama is sticking here, and you try to forcibly remove it, pull it out, because of the panchakarma processes which are quite strong in nature, like if you do a purgation or you do emesis, which is vomiting, you're trying to pull it out, right? If it is ama in the body, this will get pulled, which will also cause damage to the wall of the tissues. And that is why never ever do panchakarma when there is presence of ama in the body. It will cause more damage to the body than benefit. So first digest the toxin, then do the panchakarma, which will remove the excess aggravated doshas out of the body without any complications, without any adverse effects. Okay, clear? Coming back to this, so we said that fasting, we talked about warm water, we talked about herbal infusions, we talked about, what else did we talk about?
Infusions, warm water, and then
Use of
nothing.
spices and
Yes.
fasting,
Yeah.
right? Then we can also use exercise for digesting ama. Exercise, walking, swimming, any kind of exercise, okay, which will stimulate the digestive fire, which will stimulate the digestion, and which will help in digesting the toxins.
But it's more recommended to do sport.
You can do sport.
But in which time would you say, like before you get breakfast or some hours after breakfast?
The question is, will you be taking breakfast if there is ama in the body? So the time will not be, a point of concern here. The important aspect is to do exercise as a part of your daily routine when there is ama in the body. If you're comfortable doing exercise in the morning, do it in the morning. If you're comfortable in the afternoon, do it in the afternoon. If you're comfortable in the evening, do it in the evening. But exercise will help. So what we are trying to tell is these are the various solutions you have. Choose what you find suitable based on what you prefer, what you like, what is possible to do, and use them. You don't have to use everything, because some people will say, I don't like exercise, I don't do exercise. Okay, fair enough. There are other things that we can do for you. Also, you can tell, if you don't like exercise, that's fine. Do you like walking? Yes, I like walking. Okay, then walk. Another thing, which is very important and useful, is sauna. Sauna. I am saying sauna, okay? I am not saying steam.
No steam?
No steam, only sauna. What is the difference? Again, Ayurveda is the only science which explains the difference between steam and sauna and where to use steam, where to use sauna. Steam is moist, sauna is dry. So when there is toxicity in the body, you don't need any moistness to the body. You need dry heat. And dry heat comes from sauna. So sauna will be useful when there is toxicity in the body. But sauna may not be useful when there is only certain other conditions which we will talk about, where you may not want to use sauna, where you might want to use moist heat. We will talk about it later. But for toxicity, never ever use steam. Always use sauna. Now when I say dry heat, you don't necessarily need to have a sauna where you go and sit. You can use hot towel, you can use sandbag, you can use warm brick pieces in a bag. Anything that is dry. The transfer of heat when it is happening on the body should not have any moisture in it. That is the principle. You can use a wheat bag. Okay, so any kind of transfer of heat which is dry is what is expected in sauna, in a sauna, and that is what is expected for the toxicity in the body. Always remember this. So, can walking in the sun help? Obviously, yes, it will help. You know, when it's like this, it's not humid, it's a dry weather, it will help. Yes.
Can I ask about people who have extreme acid reactions in the stomach?
Mm-hmm.
Is that called extreme agni or
Extreme agni.
so? So what's the
So
recommendation?
when we talk of like acidity, it can be two things. Okay, one is where there is excess water being consumed, where your agni or your digestive fire is getting diluted because of the excess water, and because of that your food is not getting digested, and then you get a reflux which is watery, pungent, etc. That is one thing. Second is where your agni is very strong, extremely strong, so strong that the food is not getting digested, it is getting burnt. Okay.
You see lots of adverts on the TV for all sorts of things for this condition.
Yeah, so primarily what happens is the common condition that is seen is reflux.
Reflux.
Yeah, so reflux is usually where there is a lot of water added into your acids, and because of that it's not digesting the food properly, and it will get thrown out, or it will come up, it will when you're lying down, or you'll get a reflux, which will be watery secretions coming from your stomach that will cause irritation if your esophagus and your your digestive tract. That is one thing. The other thing that can also happen is, just like if you put rice to cook and you don't pay attention, it gets burnt, completely charred. Same situation can happen with your digestive fire being extremely strong, and then you're not giving the right quality of food, the right quantity of food, and that can lead to charring of the food, which will then also cause depletion of the energy, depletion of the strength, depletion of your tissues, because there is no nutrient value to the food, even though the agni or the digestion is strong. And that will also cause some kind of acid reflux, which will be dry, belching with extreme burning in the stomach and irritation of the stomach lining. There will not be watery reflux, but there will be burning and pain, inflammation in the stomach.
So you wouldn't say to anybody to fast in that case, would you?
No.
No, opposite.
No.
The opposite. Eat more.
Yeah, eat more, eat the foods which are pacifying the agni, which are supporting the strong agni, eat the foods which are heavier to digest, which are moist, sweet,
Cooling.
unctuous, cooling. So those kind of foods.
Okay, thank you.
So it's not always a problem of less. You know, there can also be a problem if it's more. You know, if your Agni is strong, your digestion is strong, that can also be a problem because the food is literally getting charred and burnt, and there is no nutrient value left in the after the process is complete. So then what is going to spread? There is nothing to really circulate and nourish the body. That will also cause problems. Okay. So coming back to the solutions, like we said, sauna is another thing. Exercise.
Infusions from water, herbs, and fasting.
Correct. One more thing which helps is alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that?
Arishta.
Helps, did you say?
Alcohol.
I don't know if Shanti is okay with that.
Medicinal
I have not elaborated on it yet. Yeah. So when we say alcohol, in Ayurveda there are medicinal herbs used to make various medicated wines. Okay. So when I talk of alcohol, primarily these kind of medicated wines are used for stimulating the digestive fire. Okay. The quantities used in these cases are about 60 milliliters only, taken after the meals or along with the meals, helps in digesting the food effectively. Also what happens is alcohol has a unique capacity of spreading into the body without undergoing the process of digestion. Try to understand this. Okay, everything that we consume spreads in the body after the digestion, like we explained in the morning, the process of digestion: stomach, duodenum, breakdown, then reabsorption. Alcohol doesn't need to undergo the process of digestion, and that's why alcohol has such a fast effect. If it was going through the process of digestion, you would have consumed the alcohol for lunch and you would have had the high of alcohol in the evening. Okay, but it gives you a high immediately because it gets absorbed into the circulation and spreads immediately into the bloodstream, giving its effect.
But why is, I mean, how is this process? How it goes directly to the bloodstream?
Directly through your tongue.
Oh.
So the alcohol is a substance which, and there is another substance which does the same thing, which is poisons. So poison and alcohol, these are two things which do not need to go through the process of digestion to have an effect on the body. They will be directly absorbed through the tongue, sublingual circulation, directly into the bloodstream, and will start showing the effect.
Just a question. With these medicated wines, are they safe for pregnant women and children?
So the quantity is very less. It's only 60 ml, okay, 60 milliliters, and that also you're not consuming neat. It's with water added into it, diluted down, so it is not really a problem to have because the quantities are less. You cannot sit with a bottle of medicated wine and have it like you have a bottle of wine. Okay, so obviously there is quantity, there is dosage, and there is specifications given to it when you consume after the meals with room temperature water, which is added to the same quantity, like 60 ml to 60 ml water added, diluted, and then consumed. So doesn't have really any problems. Obviously the herbs with which you are making the wines can then be considered as contraindication. If you're making wines from certain herbs which are not advised during pregnancy, then obviously you'll not have those wines. But then if you're making wines, say for example from sandalwood, from lotus, from say grapes, Shatavari, Ashwagandha, these are different herbs, but like sandalwood, rose, etc., people know lotuses. So if you're making wines from that, those won't be any problematic to even pregnant women to have, provided the rules are followed.
But it's called wine because it has alcohol.
It has alcohol in it.
Not because it has like a main thing like grapes or something like this, no? It can be like just alcohol with herbs.
No, it is, the process is very different. The way it is made is decoction of the herbs are taken, decoctions or juices of the herbs are taken with which you are making the wine. To that you add a particular kind of flour, okay, it's called as the flowers have natural yeast in it, okay, it's called as Woodfordia fruticosa. These flowers are added into it, into this mixture, and these flowers have natural yeast in it. They start the process of
Fermentation.
fermentation. This process is a very slow process. It goes on for about 30 days. Then you decant it and again keep the liquid. It will further go the process of fermentation for another 30 days. This is a self-limiting process. When a certain percentage of alcohol is reached, which is about 8 or 9%, the process of fermentation automatically stops. These flowers, they settle down at the bottom. You filter it. These flowers are thrown away, and then that alcohol is kept for decantation, that is settlement of any sediments, etc., for another month, and after 3 months the product is ready. So it's a very proper process where you don't have to add anything externally to stop the process of fermentation like in the standard alcohol or wine making process. This is a self-limiting process which stops automatically when the alcohol percentage of 8 or 9% is reached. No medicated wine in Ayurveda has an alcohol percentage more than 8 or 9%. Okay? Even if you add double the quantity of flowers, still it's not going to cause a 16% alcohol. It's automatically will stop at 8%, 8 or 9%. Okay, you want to say something?
No, that's good. You understood that?
Yeah.
16 ml diluted in water. Medicinal.
Medicinal.
Are you saying 16?
60,
60,
60 ml, 60,
60.
60.
60, yeah.
Mm.
So medicated wines is also another remedy for these things. So these are different solutions that can be used for correcting the problem of toxicity, ama in the body. We choose what is suitable for that person based on the chronicity, the severity of the problem, and then we start this process of digestion. The duration of this entire thing will depend on the signs and symptoms. Like for example, if the person is showing signs and symptoms of toxicity, we will keep on doing them till such a time these signs and symptoms are not completely taken care of. Like for example, coating on the tongue, that will go fast because the body will start showing signs will go faster, symptoms will take longer to go. You understand the difference between sign and symptom, right?
Yeah.
So signs will go faster, symptoms will take longer to go. Like the lethargy, the lack of focus, the lack of energy, the way people feel in the morning, they feel very tired, they don't feel getting out of the bed. These kind of symptoms, pain, these kind of symptoms will take longer to go. But again, depending on the signs and symptoms, you do this therapy, you do this detox process, and keep on observing the signs and symptoms. There might be a condition where you might have to stop and restart also, because the person is not feeling up to it to continue the fasting continuously. So you might have to stop the fasting, put that person on a slightly, better meaning heavier kind of a meal, and then again restart. So you will have to do adjustments in this. One thing which I forgot to mention is one of the things that is very effective whilst one has toxicity in the body is castor oil.
Castor oil.
Okay?
Castor oil.
So castor oil is something which is again very useful. I would say the only oil that can be used during the toxicity in the body, that is castor oil. If you use any other oil, whether it is for massage, okay, or consuming also in larger quantities, that will cause increase of toxicity in the body. Okay, so you have to be very careful with the amount of fats, which is, oils being used. You can also use cow's ghee as a solution, because cow's ghee, though it is a fat, cow's ghee has an inherent property of stimulating the digestive fire. So you can use cow's ghee for cooking, whereby the food is also strengthened in its qualities of stimulating your agni, stimulating your digestive fire. So that is there. But otherwise, oils, you have to be very careful with the oils, because oils will increase the toxicity in the body. Massage is not prescribed when you have toxicity in the body, except if it is done with castor oil. Okay, but doing massage with castor oil is not really a great thing, because castor oil is thick, sticky, very viscous, so doing a massage will not be preferred. But obviously you can use castor oil for application on the body wherever there is pain because of toxicity. So if there is pain in the body which is shifting, moving, so one day you have a pain in knee joint, the other day it's the back problem, third day it is ankle, you can just use it for local application on those parts. Apart from that, castor oil can be consumed internally as a treatment of toxicity. Quantity of castor oil to be consumed will be very less, because you don't want any laxative action to happen, and the duration and the time of consumption is also very important. So that castor oil can be consumed in small quantities, like a tablespoon, 1 tablespoon on 1.5 tablespoon, 1.5 teaspoon, 1 teaspoon to 1.5 teaspoon, not tablespoon. Correct that please.
Can you repeat?
Yes. Castor oil can be consumed in the quantity of 1 teaspoon to 1.5 teaspoon with the meal. With the meal meaning, when you have sat down to eat your food, you take the castor oil and immediately start eating your food. Question for the students: why? You can think and answer me tomorrow.
Why previously?
Why with the food? Why not before? Why not after?
Because if it's too sticky, we can help the process.
I said
of
think
the-
and give me an answer.
Yes.
It's not that simple.
Okay.
Okay.
What about
Are we assessing that?
Yes,
Oh.
I'm joking. We will assess, Sonia will assess you when you go back to town, how much you actually absorb and retain.
So I'll repeat the question. Castor oil is consumed in a quantity of 1 teaspoon to 1.5 teaspoon, taken before the meal, meaning the first mouthful before you start the food or eating the food, you consume castor oil, followed by your meal immediately. Not suggested before, meaning right before and then half an hour before, 15 minutes before, 2 hours before, or after the meal also.
Why?
Why? Okay, so this is another solution, and obviously castor oil cannot be given for longer durations in this manner, so you can advise it for say a week, stop it for a week, and then again start. Obviously you will only use it when there is absolute need of using castor oil, because it's a strong solution. Where there is chronicity, people have had long terms of chronic toxicity in the body, that's when usually these kind of solution will be used. Otherwise, simple things like drinking warm water, herbal infusions, that will give immediate relief if the toxicity is not that chronic. Okay, any questions? Yeah.
is Udvartana also contraindicated in this process?
Not really. Udvartana is a dry process, so Udvartana would not be contraindicated. What is Udvartana? Explain for everyone.
Okay, Udvartana is a massage with herbs in the format of powder. It's almost the same maneuvers that you do in Madhyanga, but it's not with oil. It's just for drying and mobilizing the toxins through the channels to the digestive system, but it is only powder and not oil, not smoothing, just a dryness process.
But it's not the one that goes in tiny pot.
No,
it's
No.
not this.
not the
You
poultice.
just
Not the
put
poultice, yeah.
a lot of powder. I usually do with chickpea powder, ginger, and some tulsi, or some people use coffee. Mm.
So usually it's a dry procedure.
heat.
Obviously you cannot do it just on the dry skin.
Yeah.
You have to apply a little bit of
oil.
oil on the body before you do it, otherwise this will cause friction, can
Yeah.
cause irritation of the skin. You also have to be careful with people who
Yes.
have a lot of hair on the body, because if you are doing a powder massage, that can cause real irritation to these people. So you need to be careful whilst you're using Udvartana, which is a powder massage in simple terms. Okay, but to answer the question, it's not contraindicated, because the quantity of oil being used is just to lubricate the skin. A thin layer is applied and then the powder massage is done. This primarily is, like rightly said, it's powders of say chickpea or rice flour with certain herbs in it which are heating in nature. So they will stimulate, and the friction will generate heat, which will also cause the heat is generated, which will cause the increase in the Agni and help in the digestion of the toxins. So can be used, but like I said, you have to be careful with this. If there is hair on the skin which is extremely painful, can be really frustrating for the person taking it. Yes.
Alina, did you bring this up because this was a massage that could be done without?
Yes,
Is that why you
yes. My question was if Udvartana was also contraindicated in this process.
Any other question? Yeah.
Yes, that was me. You were mentioning the spices that can be used to digest ama that aren't heating, that are suitable for pitta, and I just missed a few of them.
Yeah. So cumin, coriander,
Coriander, yeah.
turmeric. Okay, so these can be used for digestion, which will not cause any aggravation of pitta. You can also use the dried ginger, which is shunthi, because shunthi is processed with milk. So the ginger processed with milk, soaked in milk and dried in the shade. So ginger inherently is extremely heating in nature. So people who have a particular type of constitution, which is fire constitution, just to explain in a very basic term, if they take any substances which are heating in nature, that will aggravate their fire in the body. So it is not advised for people like this. But if suppose they have to use ginger, then there is a way of changing the effect on the body without changing its qualities in terms of medicinal qualities. So the way you do it is, take the ginger, soak it in milk and dry it in shade. Not in the sun, dry it in shade. So that will change the property of ginger, where it will not cause any aggravation of the fire in the fire constitution people, the pitta constitution, and give the same results. Okay?
So
One question, why turmeric? Why turmeric can be used for?
Because it's bitter and cold.
Is it cold?
Turmeric? Bitter and not even cold. The video.
it's antiseptic, anti-inflammatory, anti-everything.
It's Tritoshik.
Go on, I'm listening.
It's anti-inflammatory.
It's anti-inflammatory, yes. What are the tastes of turmeric?
Bitter.
Bitter and?
It's not astringent?
It is astringent.
Bitter.
Bitter astringent.
Astringent. So
Astringent.
it's cold.
No,
No?
No, it's sticking.
not all astringent substances are cold. Understand one thing, okay? Everything that is bitter in taste, okay, will act on one organ of your body, which is liver. Everything that is bitter in taste will improve the liver functioning. Remember the term which used to be used earlier called bitter tonics. There was a term used in medical fraternity called as bitter tonics. Bitter tonics were used to stimulate the appetite, gain weight. Why? Because the bitter tonics or substances which are bitter in nature, bitter in their taste, will improve your liver functioning. The moment the liver functioning is improved, your digestion will improve. When your digestion is improved, your appetite will increase, your metabolism, your digestion will improve, and you will be able to gain healthy weight. Okay? So, always remember anything that is bitter. So, the aloe vera that we are consuming in the morning every day, that is also bitter in nature, bitter and sweet. That is cooling in its effect. So, that is again a liver tonic. It's an excellent liver tonic. Research has been done on aloe vera, where aloe vera has been proven to do reverse changes in liver cirrhosis also. Liver cirrhosis is a condition which is damaged liver cells, completely damaged liver cells. So aloe vera has been found to be effective in changing those and reversing the entire cirrhotic changes in the liver. It is so effective on the liver. Okay, so aloe vera is one of the things which is easily available. Okay, so should be used more effectively for various conditions, particularly wherever there is a liver issue. Aloe vera should be one of the first herbs to come to our mind. Something that grows in our garden can be very easily used. All you have to do is take a small piece, say about 3 to 4 centimeters, remove the skin on the top, below, and the gel in between is something that has to be consumed. Consume the gel every day in the morning with warm water. You will see amazing difference in the way your body functions, your liver functions, your digestion functions, your skin looks, your overall health improves. You feel more rejuvenated, your energy levels are better. Because what is liver? What is the function of liver?
Is the blood?
Remove
Produce the blood. Yeah.
Sorry?
Purifies the blood. Or
remove
Purifies the blood, yes.
to remove the old cells of blood.
Remove the old cells of the blood, yes. What else?
The second
You know
part.
what, there is a word called as portal system. I'll write it down and explain. Coming from port. What is port? We have ports here on the ocean, where what happens, a boat comes, things are removed, new things are loaded, and then the boat moves to the next destination. So liver is like a portal system in our body. What it does, the entire blood from the body will come to your liver. All the toxins from the blood will be removed, will be purified, and then the blood will be further taken to the heart. From the heart it will go to the lungs. What will happen there? Carbon dioxide will be taken, oxygen will be put in the blood, it will come back in the heart, and then it will move back into circulation. Correct? So if you try and understand the physiologies in a very simple way without making it too complicated, it is very easy to understand. From the heart, the blood has to go to the lungs. Why? Because your respiratory system is where the gases are going to get exchanged. The carbon dioxide from the blood is getting taken out, oxygen is being put in the blood, so that becomes oxygenated blood. The oxygenated blood will again come into the heart. Why? Because that needs to be pumped into the body. Why? Because each and every cell in your body needs oxygen. So it will be pumped back into the body, where the blood will then go into the capillaries, from the capillaries into microcapillaries, from the microcapillaries into the plasma, and the oxygen will be then passed on to each and every cell of the body. From there, the carbon dioxide will be picked up and put in the blood. From there, and also the toxins will be taken up by the blood. This blood will then go into the veins, from the arteries to the veins. The veins will take the blood back to the heart. While coming up, it will go to the liver. At the liver, it will get detoxified and then come back to the heart. So it's a cyclic motion that keeps on happening. So from here, the purified blood goes, oxygenated blood goes, collects all the impurities, carbon dioxide comes back here, detox happens, comes back here. From there it goes to the lungs, oxygenation happens, comes back here, and then continues. Very simple to understand if you remember it in this manner. Okay, we had done a anatomy physiology, some 7-8 hours class. I still remember and have those notes. Very simplified anatomy physiology for the students. So the reason we were talking about is the portal system. Liver is one of the most important organs in your body, not just for digestion but also for detoxification. Okay, everything that you consume, every toxic substance that you consume is going to come back and accumulate in your liver. Yeah.
Is the liver where there are located the Bhuta Agnis or not?
The Panchamahabhautik Agnis?
Yeah,
So the Panchamahabhautik Agnis are located there,
there.
obviously, but the Panchamahabhautik Agnis are not that important, because you have got the main Agni and then you have got the Dhatu Agni.
Mm-hmm.
Those are more important. So you can either follow a concept of Bhautik Agni, which then doesn't focus on your Jatragni and Dhatvagni,
Okay.
or you can follow a concept of Jatragni
Oh,
and
there is another concept.
yeah.
Oh,
So there is an entire different school of thought which only talks on the basis of the Panchamahabhutas.
Mm.
They are not giving importance to the doshas as well as the dhatus. So they will break down everything and go back to the basic fundamental foundation, which is at the elemental level.
I thought the first part of the digestion was the Jataragni, the second part was the Mahabhuta Agnis, and the third the Dhatu Agnis.
No, so basically when the Jatragni
Mm.
has, like the digestion has happened in your stomach,
Mm-hmm.
it gets reabsorbed, circulates throughout the body.
To the Dhatus.
You already have rasa.
Yeah.
So the first tissue is already formed.
Mm-hmm.
And from the rasa, you're going to get directly into the next cycle, which is your subtle digestion,
Mm-hmm.
your sukshma pachan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So liver is extremely important, and that is why one has to be very careful about the liver functioning in general in your body, because it is doing most important jobs, not just helping your digestion but also cleansing the blood continuously. And the first signs of any kind of a liver problem will be seen on the skin.
On the face.
No, on the skin.
Anyway.
Anywhere on the skin. Any liver damage, any damage is a strong word, I would say any kind of a problem with the liver functioning, where the liver functioning is getting affected, is getting impaired, will immediately first be seen on your skin. Either in form of, say, somebody starts getting hives on the skin, somebody starts getting any kind of skin eruptions on the skin, somebody starts getting pigmentation on the skin. All these, any of these will directly mean that your liver is not functioning properly. See, the idea of this retreat is not just, talking about Ayurveda, because probably this is the first time you got so many students. Otherwise, it's usually, people who are not studied Ayurveda or who have attended my talks intermittently but not being students as such. Okay, so the idea of this retreat is not really talking of Ayurveda in depth. It is primarily making people aware of how to be aware of yourself, how to be aware of changes happening in your bodies, and how to help yourself or at least your family members or your friends through simple things. It's not something that has to have medical knowledge. You need to be medical doctors or you need to be medically trained. But you can use simple remedies, you can use simple things, changes in your diet, in your lifestyle, which is easily possible. And that's the idea of this kind of a retreat, where we educate people on how to look within ourselves, how to observe the changes. Because one of the major things, and I think Shanti has been, I was talking to her and she has been talking about being mindful, and I feel that one thing which has become more and more, it's disappearing, is being aware of ourselves. People are not aware of the changes happening in our body. People don't even realize that, they are having some health issues. People are overlooking those issues, not paying attention to it. Because the entire focus is on a medical system or on a system which looks at signs and symptoms and a disease to be there to treat something. Whereas we look at any kind of imbalance as a starting point of the problem. A hive on your body or a small pigmentation on your skin or feeling itchy somewhere is a starting point of your liver getting disturbed. If you don't pay attention, we don't know what it will result into. So why wait for something to happen when you know something is already started and you can correct it with as simple as taking an aloe vera couple of days for the next 3-4 days to correct it? Why then go into a problem where you need some heavy medication, antibiotics, etc., 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 to deal with it, and go on taking it for a month, a couple of months, and spend large amounts of money when the solutions are available in your kitchen, in your gardens. So that's the idea of being aware of changes. And what kind of changes is what we will mainly talk about. So liver, the basic thing that will happen is your skin will start showing the changes. The moment you see any kind of change on your skin, which can be as simple as you start feeling itchy skin, you start feeling your skin has become sensitive, your skin is showing any kind of eruptions, the skin is showing hives suddenly, or pigmentation, you need to understand the liver is going wrong. Something is wrong with your liver. You can start taking simple things like aloe vera. You can start taking turmeric, because turmeric is another excellent liver cleanser and detox for the liver and blood. So these kind of things will correct the problems immediately. And when I'm saying immediately, mind you, you will see the results in 3 or 4 times you take the substance. You don't have to take it for a week to see, 15 days to see. But if you are observant and if you can see the changes happening in your body, you will be able to see the changes immediately. I'll give you an example. Just before coming, I left on Wednesday, and Monday morning I suddenly had hives on my skin, here, on my feet, on my legs, etc. And I was worried, and I was starting to think, oh, I'm traveling, I don't want this to increase and have a problem. I just went and got a decoction which is made with all the bitter herbs, called Safi. I think we have it here, right, Santi? So I had Safi, I got Safi, and I literally took 3 times the dose because I wanted a quick solution. So I literally poured in like 60 ml of it, added water and drank it. What happened? That day, because of the whole thing that I had taken twice, I had diarrhea, loose motions. But what was it? It was the body's process of cleansing the excess dosha, excess toxicity out of the body, the doshas, which was pitta, which was causing hives and disturbance of my liver. In 3 doses, I was fine. Like 2 on that day, and Tuesday morning I had 1. And I had called my friend who is a skin specialist just to go and show him, so that I'm traveling, I don't want any trouble. I didn't go to him. 3 doses of Safi and I was corrected. So, if you know exactly what is happening and you know how much quantity you need to take, you can correct it like probably better than any Western medicine also. There's a misconcept that herbal medicines take longer time to show results. It's a misconcept. It's a problem with our understanding and the dosage that you have to give. If you give the right dosage to the right person at the right time, it will show results. Another misconcept, it is herbal, so it will not have any side effects. Remember, anything that has an effect will also have a side effect if it is given to wrong person in the wrong dosage at the wrong time.
Can I ask how it affects children? You know, sometimes these children have got just dry skin. I mean, it's
Yeah.
infected and gets infected. And I know a little boy who has to wear gloves.
Yeah.
He can't sit on the mat.
Yeah.
Just
So any condition that is related to skin has to have its origin in the liver and has to has its foundation in the blood, the quality of blood that is there. So the solution for that, though it's very difficult to give a solution like this, the basic understanding will depend on improving the liver functioning and detoxifying or purifying the blood. And the thing has to change. Now, what to use, quantities, when to give, etc. will depend after, physically seeing that person or that child. But the problem of skin, 99% of the problems of the skin are coming from liver and blood. And its origin is in the diet, mainly. Most of the skin diseases, and I'm talking of skin diseases like say, urticaria or dermatitis or psoriasis, all these are originating from diet. We'll talk about diet a little bit. There's a concept of incompatible foods, foods which don't go together well. If they are consumed in combinations, they can cause severe toxic effects in the body. They can cause severe damage to the liver. So those kind of foods, if they are consumed in quantities or they are consumed repeatedly over a period of time, that can cause various kinds of skin diseases. And kids, like banana smoothie is a common thing given to kids, okay? But banana and milk is one of the worst combinations that can be given to a kid because it's incompatible. It causes increase of flame. So some kids who don't have a particular constitution can still get away with that. But kids who are of a particular constitution will necessarily have problems of cold, recurrent sinus problems, recurrent colds, influenza, fever, change of weather, they will have infections, respiratory problems. But the root cause is in the diet. And because they have problems, their mothers further give them banana and milk because it's easy, they like it, it's nice to taste, but that's one of the major root causes in the diets usually for kids, because banana and milk is an extremely bad combination to give to anybody, in fact, because it's incompatible. It causes heaviness in the stomach. If it doesn't get digested, it causes stickiness, it causes bloating, it causes ama.
It's very delicious.
It is. So the rule is things which are delicious may not be beneficial, and things which are beneficial may not necessarily be tasty.
yes. So what would you give a little child, say a 5-year-old?
So see, there are medicines which can be given in smaller dosage, which can be mixed with the food and given. Okay, so you don't necessarily have to give them aloe vera because the baby is not going to, 5-year-old is not going to take it. It's not something that is easy to give to a child of 5 years old. So in these cases, you would necessarily give medicines which will be, some form of medicine broken down, crushed and given with the food.
Chocolate.
And
Yeah.
cook milk with turmeric.
Sorry?
And cooking milk with turmeric.
If that is one of the causes, then and if milk is one of the important part of the diet, then cooking milk with turmeric, or like we make the Ayurvedic milk, which is primarily made with turmeric or spices, and also making the milk lighter to digest, where 1 part of milk, 1 part of water, and then boil it to remove the water part. So say for example, if you are taking 200 mils of water milk, add 200 mils of water to it, so it becomes 400 mils, and then boil it so that the water part gets removed. So what you are doing is you are doing a heat process, but you are not making the milk thicker, which makes it heavier to digest. You're only using the heat to make it lighter by removing the water part, so you still get 200 mils of milk, which is processed with heat, lighter to digest. So these are some simple things that you can do to change the properties of a substance without, having an adverse effect on the, or removing the adverse effects of the substances. Question? Yeah.
Is there a maximum period to consume aloe vera?
No.
No?
No.
You can consume.
You can consume it every day. It's a rasayana.
Mm-hmm.
It's a rejuvenator.
Mm-hmm.
So if it is consumed in smaller quantities every day, shouldn't be a problem. Like for example, if you're consuming the gel,
Yeah.
okay, of say 15 grams or 20 grams every day morning, no
You
problem.
can-
Is acne related with liver?
Sorry?
Acne is related with liver?
Yes. What does the modern concept say? Bile comes from liver, right? Bile is secreted by the liver, which is one of the most important factors responsible for digestion. Your fat, yeah.
There's also a saying, if you're lily-livered, you're a coward or a weakling. So the fire in the liver gives you courage. I
Yeah.
suppose that's
Yes,
where it comes from.
yes. The fire literally comes from liver.
Mm.
Your digestion is directly related to your liver. So the fire comes from your liver.
Mm.
And vice versa, the fire or the emotions which are related to fire, which is anger, frustration,
Mm.
will affect the liver.
Mm.
And it is a known fact that people who are angry or who are frustrated, who have constant bouts of anger, their liver is likely to get disturbed.
Mm.
Given in the books, I'm not saying it's an observation, it's a reason, one of the causative factors for liver disturbance. Just like alcohol can cause disturbance of liver because of the heat, emotions like anger, frustration can cause, liver disturbances.
What
Yeah.
sort of quantity of aloe vera did they use to reverse cirrhosis of the liver?
No, that was basically given in form of, they used Triphala Gugul with Kumari Asa. So it was a medicine that was tasted and they used it to check the effects. So Kumari Asa was used, so it's a medicated wine. So not exactly aloe vera as such was
No,
used.
no.
Yeah,
Okay.
so Kumari Asa was used, and it was an experiment done, where certain animals were tasted and then it was given to human beings as well. So they saw reverse changes in the cirrhotic livers.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah.
My question was, I'm just curious. When I eat egg and dark chocolate, I get redness on my skin, and I'm curious to find out why. It's
Egg and chocolate.
yeah.
Together?
Not together.
Yeah, sounds very weird.
Dark chocolate without milk, so
Okay.
almost 100% dark chocolate.
So probably the dark chocolate is not agreeing with you, but as far as the egg is concerned, sulfur can be one of the reasons, because sulfur has adverse effects with liver if some people are not able to, adjust to it. So sulfur in the liver, in the egg can be one of the reasons for that. So because sulfur is something which is great for the skin also, but it can also cause adverse conditions on skin. So that is something which has a dual role to play. But as far as chocolate, I don't know. There might be some underlying cause to it. Because ideally, it's a bitter substance, so it shouldn't really have anything to do with liver disturbances as such.
Even I have the same problem. Even if I eat very bitter chocolate, like 90 or 99%, I get some
Acne.
You get what?
some acne or
Acne.
irritation of the skin. Yes.
But I think that is too strong for you, for your chocolate. Why don't you have some maintenance?
I eat just from 80 to 99%.
But why?
Very bitter, but it's the same.
And you like the bitter chocolate.
Yeah.
You need to get your chest cleansed.
Yes.
We will come to this
Yes.
point later when we talk about the doshas.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Would you give us some hints to define a true hungry? Like
Real hunger.
feelings, because now that I'm studying Ayurveda for some years, I can feel when I'm real hungry, but I think almost all people doesn't know how is the feeling of a true hungry. Is there some hints that you can?
So what happens when one feels hungry? Okay, first and foremost is the urge to eat,
Mm-hmm.
which comes from lack of energy,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you feel lack of energy, you feel you're not able to focus, right? Because obviously when you don't have food, your cells are not getting nourished, so you will not feel physically energetic. You will also not feel, intellectually being able to focus or concentrate on something. Third thing is, if you don't get food, then what will happen, the next step is you will start feeling agitated, frustrated, angry, depending on the level will change depending on your basic constitution. But the basic thing is feeling lack of energy
Mm-hmm.
and not able to focus, etc., which is what is the sign that you understand, or symbol that you understand that you want to eat now. Similarly, when we talk of water, that's another problem, that people don't know what a thirst is. Yeah. So you feel thirsty means what? Because everybody is advised now to carry a bottle of water and they keep on sipping water all the time, which is problematic, because constantly you are taking water which is constantly pacifying the
Decreasing the-
agni, pacifying the digestion, pacifying the juices that might be secreted, and that can then hamper the digestive processes. So feeling of thirst, what is the science saying? That when you feel thirsty, it's a sign that you're already dehydrated. No, I mean that's a natural instinct that was created in a human being, and human being is necessarily an animal. So hunger, thirst, these are natural instincts which are there to tell them now it's time to eat, now it's time to drink. But we have gone past that and we have made it like a problem that if you feel thirsty, that means you're already dehydrated. You should not put the body in that stage. I do understand that doing this on a regular basis where you don't drink and you keep on feeling thirsty and you don't drink, that can cause dehydration. But feeling thirsty where you feel the need of drinking water or having some fluid is not something which is a sign or symptom of dehydration. Obviously it's a sign and symptom of dehydration, which means you are lacking the liquid in the body or you're lacking the fluids in the body, but that is not something that you call dehydration. Medically the dehydration that is labeled as where you need to put
A drip.
a drip or something, that's not what it is. It's lack of fluids in the body, just like it's a lack of food when you feel hungry. So that is also important. And look at animals, I mean, they don't, like, even if you keep a bowl of water for a dog or your pet, he or she doesn't go and keep on drinking water every 15 minutes like we do. They will only drink when they feel thirsty, they will only eat when they are hungry.
No, like some dogs.
No, I mean some breeds, yeah.
Not that
But then they face problems as well, isn't it? I mean, it's proven. Yeah. So yeah, any other questions? Okay, so this is what we are going to do. Okay, we're going to stop now. And tomorrow morning when we start, the students who are doing the course are going to start with the concept of 5 elements. Okay, you are going to talk and I am going to add on to it whatever is remaining to be said. Okay, and we have to talk in a way which is not very technical. So the idea is to talk in a language which is understandable to a common person who has not studied Ayurveda at all. That is what is important. Okay?
It's gonna be each of us explaining something, or you want?
Yeah, each of us, you can decide amongst yourself who is going to talk what and do it. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you. We'll continue tomorrow. And you need to give me the list of things that you want to focus on. It can be diseases, it can be basic concepts, whatever.
And the castor oil.